afternoon, everybody. Look how the room nice and full up, and this is so wonderful. So, admin people, when I did run the fabulous intro and all of that did happen. Where are my guest speakers and my co-hosts? I need to make sure that everybody's on screen. Hello out there, virtual land. How is everybody doing this fine, wonderful afternoon? Everybody good? On a stay, my people, on a stay. Shireen, Shanique, on a stay.
I am good.
Awesome, awesome. So for most of us here, I think several people, several students, the staff here, we're representing the UE community, but we might see some people online here who are not represented the UE Mona community. So Shanique, Shireen, tell me one from, big up on a school. What's going on over there?
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. So my name is Shereen Manning Tennant, and I'm representing NCU One Swasa. Big up Swasa.
All right, nice. Shanique, okay, Shanique, it needs to be unmuted. All right. We got the technical. There you
Okay,
go.
great. Greetings, everyone. My name is Shanique Knight, and I'm here representing the Northern Caribbean University, right? And I am also the president for the Social Work Students Association, One SWASA. I have my students here today. They are online repping with me. So big up Northern Caribbean University and One SWASA.
Awesome. All right, guys. So as we started, we have the official thing. I want to welcome everybody officially to Threads of Change Empowering Social Workers podcast. Let me see some clap emojis. Let me see some fire emojis. Let me see all of that. We're going to utilize the technology. Awesome. I am your host, Shauna K. Burns, and my co-host today is the lovely Miss
Abigail Barrett, representing the University of the West Indies.
Hey, you a nice voice.
One UWI.
Yeah, 1 year. Awesome sauce. So we're so excited that you guys have here with us to join us for this transformative journey. It is our first official podcast. Let's big up ourselves for that. Woo woo. Right? Our mission here is to inspire and equip social workers to become champions of change, advancing their careers, enhancing their communities, and enriching their lives. Love that. Now we dive into engaging conversations with social workers, advocates, and change makers, exploring the challenges they face, the victories they celebrate, and the impact they create. But we're not just here to talk, we're here to take action. Together, let's build a community where voices are amplified, where learning is continuous, and where change is not just a possibility, but a reality. Now, whether you're a social worker or just somebody passionate about it, you're an educator, you're a student, you're a friend, family, and kinfolk, we welcome you to the Threads of Change podcast. It is just for you. We're gonna have our Instagram pages that's coming up soon. I'm gonna get that information for you and keep you up to date. So, all right, so we had our introduction, we had our guest introduction. We heard from Shireen and Shanique. There's some other students who are here with us. I see Peter John, I see Ayana. So please, Peter John, Ayana, when I represent, let us know.
Ladies before gentlemen.
Yes, go ahead, Ayana.
Okay. I'm Ayana Phillips, and I'm representing Portmore Community College.
Woo, woo.
So big up everybody who's here from Portmore Community College, and welcome everyone.
Yes.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Peter John Palmer, and I am representing the University of the West Indies. Thank
One
you very
more
much.
now. Yes,
One
I
more.
love that.
One Sosai.
One Swasa, yes, one
Mhm.
Swasa, one Swasa.
That is
Awesome,
it.
guys. So I just want to say again, welcome and thank you. So you guys know that today we're actually we're gonna go into some myth busting, some conversations around social work. We know as a lot of student social workers, you're coming into the field and you're all type of thing. We hear
Mhm.
all type of thing about what social work is, what social work isn't. Then you really have to go to school for that. That's one of my favorite lines. We're gonna delve into that. We're gonna do a lot of conversation. So the lovely people then behind the scenes have set up some wonderful questions for us. We're gonna try and see if we can get through as much as possible, but we do want it to be interactive. Guests, guys, use up the chats. Let us know. Our conversation did go out. Please let us know that if you are commenting in the chats, it will be used for future. So that was sent out. We just want to thank you. Thank you so much for being here. And then we're going to get into these questions. Is everybody good? Everybody, we're ready? We're ready? All right. So
Ready?
thank you. I forgot to answer me. We have to talk, and dead ear on podcasts don't work. So as long as you're able to unmute, guys, just unmute, talk to us, let us utilize it in the field. All right. So one of the first questions here, how did you become aware of the social work profession? Anybody who wants to take that one first?
Right. So I became aware through my sister. I actually have a sister that is a social worker, but she currently practices in the UK.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So she spoke to you about it?
Yes, we have had conversation about it. And so while I was, well, initially, I actually, I wanted to do business administration with an emphasis in accounting because I was working in the accounting department for over 5 years. So I thought that was the thing. But then I began to do some deep introspection and reflection and thinking about what I really want to spend my life doing. And I'm like, but I don't really love figures. I don't really love math. So why am I doing this? Like, what would that one thing be that I would actually get up and do every morning, even if I'm not being paid? And, I love helping people. I love to motivate people. And I'm like, social work is the thing for me. Yes. So that is where it all
Awesome.
started.
I love that, Sherry. I love that. Who's going next?
Awesome. Miss Burns, I want us to before we even go any further, for the general public, set a kind of foundation so they can understand what social work even is.
Oh, all right. Go ahead, Miss Abby. Go ahead.
Okay, no problem. So we know, and others can chime in, that it is a helping profession, right? It's the activity of assisting individuals, families, groups, and communities to increase or enhance their social functioning. We deal with empowerment. We deal with supporting and trying to enhance the inherent worth and well-being of an individual. And so that's what we're all about. Anybody else wanna say something where that is concerned?
A description that I would often use to kind of bring it home is the one with the fisherman. So we don't just fish for them and then we give them what they need and we move on. We actually teach them how to fish. We give them the resources necessary for them to fish.
Okay.
And in some cases, if the needs be, we'll even give them the fish itself. So it's really an encompassing work that is teaching those who we are working with to become self-sufficient, whether it's on a scale of an individual, a family, a community, or in society on a whole. It's about inspiring that kind of change and teaching them how to keep going for themselves and others around them.
Yes, love that, Peter John. Love that.
Ayana, Shanique, hold us on. What is it you want to say?
All right, so I would say for me, the reason why I chose social work was after about 3 years of working, I realized that I really wanted to go back to school, but I didn't know what exactly I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted it to be in the helping profession field. So after doing a bunch of research, I narrowed it down to something in the hospitality field or social work. But after doing my research, I realized that social work was it for me regarding it aligned with my passion. So it wasn't about regarding the money or anything. I didn't even research the money. I just that it aligned with my passion and is what I wanted to do.
All right, guys, I heard that I was a little low. Is just put a little hand emoji somewhere and let us know. All right, awesome sauce. So one of the first things I want all my guests who are able to do in the chat, have you ever heard about an elevator pitch? Well, let me tell you what the elevator pitch is. So the elevator pitch was something that I think originally came out of the business world, right? So imagine you are a junior officer working in a company, and by one day you have a pitch for a great idea for the company, and you get on the elevator with the CEO or the director. Now, you know, say them work on the top floor, you generally work somewhere on the bottom floor, right? You get a chance, you're coming into work, and you get a chance to be in the elevator with the director. You have the time it takes to run up to the top floor, you know, say you pass your floor, right? To run up to the top floor and give them your pitch about your idea. I want us in the chat, anybody give us a shot at your elevator pitch defining what social work is. Remember, you're not a long time for writing a paragraph, you know, one of them nice fast elevator. You're going up to the top just to tell them what social work is. And then when them step out, all right, now, bye. But it must be memorable, boss. You catch it. I want my people in the chats to go ahead, do that, and then you take your ride down to the bottom. So go ahead and let's do that. So one of the next things, Abby, you want to shout out to the people that second question to see if we can get this groove going.
All right, so I want to know, because people have a lot of misconceptions and perceptions of social work and social workers. What's some of the most outrageous things you've ever heard about the profession? For me, for example, I've heard that, should I say it's outrageous? But like, let's say I told somebody I want to be a social worker, and they're like, I want that. Who do that? Oh, yeah, one of the people and what take what people pit me. And that's a common comment. What have you guys heard? Talk to me.
So for me, sorry.
Go ahead.
Right. So the most outrageous thing that I've heard about social work is that you remove children from their families, and it's just a volunteer job. For example, I can remember when I started university and this young lady asked me, she said, what are you studying? And I told her, I said, social work. And she was like, social work? I would never waste my money to do that job. I mean, you know, that reaction can definitely be mind changing. However, I don't easily get impacted by the opinion of others, right? So what she's basically saying that I am wasting my money. And to be honest, I felt bad. I felt so bad. Therefore, I said, it is not what you said, but it is what God said. She laughed and she walked away. And, you know, it was my first semester. And, you know, things like these can basically change a student mind. And many of the times you'll find students, you know, they start off in a certain career path and then they just change because of this. So, you know, people really have a misconception as it regards to social work.
Yes, love that, Shanique. Love that. Anybody else?
Yes, for me, I have heard that it's not a real profession.
It's
not a real profession. And if it's not real, I really don't know what it is then, but that's what I've heard. I didn't even bother to ask what it is.
Yeah, I see you here wanting to say something.
Yeah, one of the stuff I heard is that why am I going to school for that? It's easy, anybody can do it.
Anybody can do the work. And it's so funny because some of these very statements are going out now to some of our follow-up questions. So the craziest thing so far we hear, so we take where people pitney, it's not a real profession, all of these interesting things, right? And that kind of goes into when you say you're actually studying for it, then you have to study for? Yes, a whole degree, in fact, set of degrees. In fact, we can go all the way to the PhD level just studying this one social work thing because a lot of people are not aware about that. So, all right, so let's get into why you think people may not be aware of that. Maybe like what are some of the things that you believe or you want to inform the public or what qualifies us to be a social worker? Why we think, I know everybody can do this thing. Talk to me. People in the chat, talk to us too. Abby, you are going to say something?
Yeah, I'll start the conversation. I think first and foremost, it is a practice-based profession. At the University of the West Indies, we know that from our very first year, we have to do practicum. Second, and even in that first year, you are given the opportunity to decide whether or not I want to continue this, because it's not for the faint of heart. So we have practicum in our first year, we have practicum in our second year, all the way up to third year. We cover ethics and certain, professional expectations that we have to meet, that not just covers the client, but protects the social worker as well. And the fact that we have to be consistently practicing, going into agencies, going in the field, meeting with people, developing cultural competence, that is definitely one thing that I think separates us from everybody else. The fact that we are so hands-on in the profession. We're in at the middle of everything. That's definitely one thing for me.
You dropped a term a while ago. I'm going to get to some of the stuff in the chat, but you dropped a term a while ago, Abby. I wonder if you want to, or anybody else wants to. Peter John, make them not hear your voice, my love. When you say things like you have to be culturally competent, what that mean? That sounds nice and bossy. What is that?
Well, cultural competence implies that you are able to fit in whatever space you're sent to work in. And fit does not necessarily mean that you're compromising your standards. It just means that you are able to adapt to the different spaces. Whether you have a code switch, you have to go in at the patois, or you have to speak standard English, or you just have to be somebody who is relatable, somebody who can understand that, okay, in this culture, we don't wear shoes. You can show up barefooted, and you can still interact and relate to the persons in the environment. So the ability to just be flexible enough to, fit into different spaces. What do you think, Miss? Oh, me do.
You sound good. You have some nice points there. Peter John, you wanted to say something, and then I think Shanique.
Right. So, as Abigail was saying, a part of it are the small nuances that exist. So the little differences that exist within certain spaces. So you can have two persons who believe that they shouldn't wear shoes, but it's for a different reason. One, it believes it's better for their health. The other believes that, and it could be something that we view as outrageous, but they could decide that they don't need it because they are confident enough without it. So whatever it is that comes, it varies. You will hear things like that, and you'll hear much more within this work. So a part of it, as you said, is being open to the variations that exist. And a part of it, we have to read. We have to be aware of what is going on.
And be knowledgeable about it, and about the different ways that people are, the different ways in which they do their life and they live their life. And it may not be similar to ours, but the idea that we can show up and do the work and understand that. And one of the things is on us to equip ourselves with different understandings and different ways of being, right? To be competent to do our work in different cultures, even within the same cultures, right? Shanique, you had a point?
Yes, pertaining to the question, right, where you said anyone can become a social worker. Oftentimes, as you would have stated before, you'd hear the people saying that, okay, then anyone can become a social worker. I would not say that, and each time, I would have heard this, I would have said, many are called and few are chosen, right? And I believe social workers are chosen and called by God. And to become a social worker, one must possess a certain qualities, right? Such as skills, empathy, communication, problem-solving abilities, and all of that. So it's not just to say, okay, then you're going to do a bachelor's degree in social work and you're going to go there. But in general, if you're not a people person, I don't see you working as a social worker. So many are called and few are chosen. And as I mentioned, you have to be a people person. You have to have understanding, and you have to, you have to know how to resolve problems.
Okay, I love that point of view. I love that point of view. We do have some people who aren't stereotypically people person, but there's a space in social work for them because social work moves across the spectrum. You can work more with policies, work in an organizational type. I see some of my policy people and my organizational structure people in the chat. I see them on the screen. I won't call up their names, but yeah, I get accused a lot of being a touchy feely social worker. So some of us may not be as quote unquote people or touchy feely, and social work actually delves into that. So the empathetic skills, research, competence-based, active listening skills, all of those wonderful things. I see some comments I want to just take a second and read. We have Rose Robinson Hall, big up yourself, Auntie Rosie. It says social work is about the smartification of people. Then that sound nice, Ian? What do you think she means? You can say that in the chat, by smartification of people. I know what I think she means, making everybody, no matter their station in life, feeling like a smarty. And there's a bonus heart for somebody who can give me the perspective / theory that you think may relate to the smartification of somebody, right? People are saying, Stephanie Palmer, you have to be emotionally stable. You have to understand human beings, Savonia is saying, using theories to guide your practice. And we also use ourselves as tool. That's everything, we're using ourselves as tool. We need to be passionate about bringing about change. That's from Moya Net. Let me see, everyone can give, but the who, the when, the where, and the why we give as social workers is what makes us different. We are superheroes without a cape. I love that. Our advocate, we advocate. It's called the code of ethics. Come on now. So we have those things that qualifies us. I want to actually bring into the thing that one of the things that differentiates us from a lot of people who are out there possibly thinking that they're doing the work is qualifications by an accredited institute, going to school, getting ourselves qualified with theories, the ability to go on practicum, to do internships and practicum, to have the relatable field practice, home sound about what qualifies us to be a social worker. Some of us, we are in the field, we've been doing the field, we've been doing the work, and we're not really catching the school part yet, but we're doing the work just as good and just as fine. But I think when we want to say social work, we have to say qualified. So we should really want to bring ourselves, and that is one of the things about what competence is. Not true, on my own. Yes.
They sound good.
Sounded good.
All right, let's go into some myth busting. Abby, you wanna take some of that? Anybody here, any myths? What do we feel are some myths about social work I would definitely want to dispel in this little session?
Well, one that I heard earlier is that all we do is take away kids. Let's talk a little bit about that. Peter John, what do you have to say about it?
What a way to put me on the spot. Okay, but it's very diverse. There is so much to it, and it's one of the things that I appreciate about it, because it can be a case where you're working in the space of an HR within a business. You could be working within the medical field. You can be working with law, with a probation officer or with a lawyer. And you can also find other ways to do it. So it could be a case where through your knowledge of social work and what it entails and the different things that you would learn, you could use it to, say, hold speeches, empowerment talks. You could become a motivational speaker. You could probably direct a program that is guided towards promoting change or depicting change, and the proper way that it can be conveyed. As Miss would have pointed out as well, or code of ethics, we can also ensure that it is moving in a manner that is respectful to the persons that we're dealing with. So it really varies, and our knowledge base is generally applicable in life because it's social work and we deal with people. People are our everyday lives. We can't avoid it. So, you know, it can really be very useful.
So I think he was answering the one that talked about what qualities. What they were asking us about is talking about this idea, this myth about the fact that all social workers do is snatch kids away or take where people pitney in our vernacular, right? So where do you think that myth comes from? Is it true? Let
It's
ask, is
definitely
it
not
true?
true. A
It
lot
is
of it
not
comes from
true.
the media's.
Can I? No, it's not true.
Go ahead.
Should I go ahead?
Yes,
Definitely.
man, Shani, go on, man.
Okay. So I was saying, no, it is not true. Even though social workers, you know, we play a crucial role in society, right? And to assist children and their families, right? While persons might view it as you just snatch away a child from their families, most person does not know that it has to do with the child protection, right? So while a child protection is one aspect of the work, it is not just snatching children away, right? We are trained to assess situation, and that's one of the things that persons don't know, that we are trained to assess situation, right? And while in training, right, we consider the best interest of the child, right? So we work to support the family and provide resources to help them address the challenges. However, when a social worker is involved in cases where children are at risk, our primary goal is to ensure the safety and well-being of the child. So it is a procedure, and it's not just snatching away. You know, we have to go through the assessment stage and all of that, right? And in order for us to maybe take the child away, we have to maybe collaborate with other enforcement as well before we can consider removing the child. So it's not just snatching, it's a procedure that we definitely have to follow.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
I would
Also,
also like to just before you, sorry about that, Shireen. I just wanted to say that I realized the error in how I had answered that. So as she has said, so after that clarification, yeah, so those are other things that social workers would do in addition to ensuring the safety of the children. And so,
correct.
So,
go ahead, Shireen.
Yes, I was just going to add based on what Ms. Knight had said. And yes, it is true that social workers, we always consider the best interest of the child. And the people, the general public, need to understand that removing a child from their home, from their family, is usually the last resort. So it's after we would have assess the situation, we would have explored all the different aspects of the situation, and we realize that the child is at risk, then it is at that point, then we would remove the child. So we don't just big and bold go up in a people's yard and just take with them picnic. No, it's not like that. It's really a misconception that we need to put to bed. Yes.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Beautifully put.
Yes.
And if I might add, I think because we're trying to find out where this myth came from. I think historically, social workers have left it up to the media to form the public's perception of social work. And the media holds no interest in the future of the profession. And so it is up to us to change the narrative of what we truly do as social workers, instead of waiting on the media to paint us as people who take kids away. Let us step in and find a way to change the narrative. And I guess that's why we're here today.
And I love that. I was just going to say that. And that goes, Abby, to one of the things in how can us in the room help to change that narrative? Yeah. A lot of us don't necessarily see ourselves as media people. If they want a social worker to go on one of the lovely radio or television shows in our various countries and lives, just by virtue of the fact that a lot of us are workers, and we'd rather do the work than talk about the work. We're not the ones out there helping to change a misconception. But you know, we're doing well. We're having things like the podcast. We have social workers going live. We have pages that we're running. We're doing conferences. We're talking. We're letting the people know, as you say, what really happened before we catch to the take the pitney away. And I also think one of the things might have been even international media and how social work might even function on a local basis in our various things. Because this idea of the people coming in the white van with the police and with some bodyguard and roll up on a house and take out the picnic kicking and screaming.
Yes.
And emotional tear jerking moment that we see in movies and things all the time. And they talk about, oh, the social worker did that. And I think a lot of that has happened, but I do see ways in which a lot of the narratives in changing. And I love that you had said that, Abby, that we have to be the ones to take it up now to actually change this narrative.
Definitely.
True. I want to talk about this one before we move on. It's a whole heap of things I want us to talk about. Social workers are always broke. It's not a money making. End up broke. Talk to me about that one day. Shanique says she raised up her hand to the sky. Tell me about that one, guys.
Social workers.
That one.
Go ahead.
So I have heard about that a lot, but it wasn't until I started studying the profession. It wasn't until that time frame. I didn't know it was a thing until I went into the field. So it was when another classmate of mine was telling me that her neighbor told her why she's studying that. We're underpaid. We get paid less than teachers and this and that. I did not know that at the time, because I told you I did not, when I researched the profession, I did not look about the money. I was just focusing on the passion that I had for it. So it was a shock to me.
Yes, I love that. So interesting. You're saying one of your classmates. So maybe we are the ones who are out there spreading this thing about the fact that we're always broke.
No, it's a neighbor told the classmate.
Okay,
the neighbor told the classmate. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, all right, cool.
All right. Yes, so I've heard that before too, and that's a lie. And when I first hear about it, I'm like, no, any profession can be broke. If you're a doctor, a lawyer, a police officer, you can't be broke if you're not smart and have a proper budgeting plan. To be honest with you, if you do not have a proper budgeting plan, it doesn't matter how much money you're earning, you can become broke. So social workers, as I mentioned before, so it's based on my research though that I would have done as a social worker, you can definitely earn enough money for a comfortable living and support your family, as well as maybe donate a little to somebody else. So that's a lot.
More than
and that is so true. That is so true. And we as social workers, we try to use our resources as much as possible, because I can tell you, as a social work student, I have conducted I've organized 2 donations one to a children's home and one to Women's Inc. And it was just using resources around us. And when people see us doing this, people say, oh, you have money, man, and you have this and that. No, we just use the resources.
But even some of these skills that we have to create resources for our clients, for our agencies, some of those same skills we use on ourselves to create that here. Let me tell you about some social worker where I live life. I mean, some social worker where I live life and I do the thing. So we don't always broke. But what are the skills? Do we social work ourselves? Because just like how we set up resources for the clients, we set up resources for ourselves. Do we go into consultation? Do we charge our worth as social workers? Do we do what we need to do? Do we have our hands and means and ways into getting our resources? And then it also depends on what our definition of wealth is. what is richness to us, what is the ability. You know, so people out there just flying us all over the world just to hear us talk. You know that? Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what social workers are out here living the life and doing the thing. And we work in all type of agencies doing all type of wonderful things. I know that this will be further discussed in the episode that's right coming after the next podcast. We'll have some professional social workers in the field. I see Vicky Bailey raising her hand. I'm not sure. I'd have to ask the technical people if it is that we have that modality. Vicky, I don't know if it is that you can type it in the chat. I'll read it out. I'm not sure about that, but I see your hand and I definitely want to hear what it is that you have to say, Vicky.
I can
Vicky,
speak. I can speak.
awesome. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Loving the discussion so far. Hailing from Trinidad. Hey. Very, very lively conversation. I am a practicing med and psych social worker. I also am part of the Trinidad and Tobago Association, an executive member of social work, And I want to just talk about the whole idea of us being a broke profession. Now, I hear what you're saying, but I think especially in our context, the Caribbean context that is, even in Trinidad, I don't think that we are paid as we ought to be. When we compare our profession to, let's say, a psychologist or any other social scientist, we are the lowest paid and overutilized and underpaid. And yes, we might say that we have a gainful employment and we might have a salary, but the cost of living sometimes it's high, and the amount of work that we put in, I don't think we are adequately compensated. So from that context, I am saying we tend to be in the middle to low income, not necessarily found in that high bracket where, because I mean, for a psychologist, a psychiatrist is paid sometimes 600 to 900 TT an hour. What is our hourly rate? What is our hourly rate, especially if we are employed with a government or through the government? So it's from that perspective, I have to say yes. Yes, I feel as if we are not valued enough and compensated enough for the work that we do. So poor in that bracket, having to struggle sometime, because you see social workers having to struggle, and most of us are employed under contract, and sometimes the contract are 3-month contract, 1-year contract. You can't go to the bank with that. You know, so yeah, I sometimes feel as if we are.
That myth is not so mythy sometimes, is what you're saying. And I think I definitely understand that. And I mean, that one has further analysis. And as I said, definitely going into what our next podcast is, it's interesting that you have brought that up. And I do know that recently in Jamaica, in the government, there was a restructuring of the positions and, you know, a little bit more money go upon the thing. And one of the things I always throw out, you know, as we just touched that point before we move on is, and it's going to go into one of our next discussion points, is what is the value we're putting on ourselves? You know? So when we say we're going to do some services, we're going to counsel, we're going to do something, what we say we are going to do, how much we say we are going to charge, we're going to say, well, you know, say, me not really a counselor like that, because we like to say those things. And we like not to charge our worth. You know, and you know, I have a personal thing now where I'm saying, yeah, man, it's time to say no to some things if it's gonna cost me more than it's gonna pay me to do the work. And Lord, me need to do the work. So we have to be a part of the change that is going out there. the discussion point is, so there are two things. Are we seeing any positive changes? Are we seeing any positive changes in the media, about who social workers are, their worth, what are the perceptions? And if so, what can we do to actively challenge and correct those misconceptions? So let me hear some of those positive stories, because we're trying to push ourselves up in this podcast. We're trying to, empower ourselves, So are there any positive changes that anybody has noticed in the media, in people's understanding of us as social workers and their careers? Shireen, I see your hand up. Let me hear you.
Yes, I have seen some positive change, and it's mainly after the pandemic. So I guess that a lot of persons would have found themselves in some crisis, some situation during the pandemic. Maybe some would have found themselves in depression, some are unemployed, a lot of situation. And so during that time, they come to realize how important social workers are. They may have encountered having to sit one-on-one with a social worker, or maybe a social worker would have linked them to some form of resources. And so I am seeing social workers getting a little bit more highlight. I am seeing where the government is even trying to make us more, well, of course we're relevant, but I see where more emphasis is being placed on the social workers being in schools and different organizations that have limited social workers, because by right, I believe that every school should have a guidance counselor and a social worker, but we see in many of our schools where they are just the guidance counselor, and the guidance counselors are trying to do the work of the social worker. But I am seeing where there's a positive energy that is flowing to us. I must say that, and it is since the whole pandemic. Before it was mainly negative, but I'm seeing a bit of positivity now, and that's good.
Okay, so you're seeing post-pandemic some change. All right.
Yes.
I think the change and the seeds of the change started before now, Shireen, but I see you. So I see Shanique had her hand up, and then Peter Johnson. Go ahead for me, Shanique.
Yes, I was saying that I'm seeing improvements in the media, as you know that since of lately the demand for social worker is growing, and you can see it out there and coming up. Remember, we are the future, and I am telling you, it's 2024, and in a time like this, where the population aging, rising rates for mental illness, addiction, increase of poverty, and all of that, I'm telling you, social workers will have to be the change, right? As we are change makers. So the growing demand is out there for social workers. So it's just for us now as social workers, when they call on us, what are we going to do to approach these challenging situations? So the lady, sorry, I didn't catch your name. She was asking about payments and so forth. We are social workers and we are policy changers. Therefore, if we can advocate for others, right? I believe we can advocate to get a better pay. So if all of us should come together and pull and advocate for our salary, I believe there can be some change as it regards to the salary that we are earning.
All right. I love that part. I love that perspective. Love that. Love that. Go ahead, Peter John.
Like Shanique, I would have also seen a lot of or certain changes in terms of the presentation of social workers in the media. I'm hearing names a lot more often now, mentioned alongside a lot more cases. And whether it's on the TV or in news articles, there is definitely an increase, and it's good because even, under sometimes these news articles or these blogs that may be posted, there is a comment section underneath. You can see that there is conversation that is being generated surrounding social workers and their use. And as would have been noted, post-pandemic, our value to people would have increased. And just to tie it back to our part about our pay, I think it is inherently tied to the perception of value. So as they would have said, more and more persons are seeing the need and more persons are demanding. So even then, I don't think that we have much more of a worry. But yeah.
All right, Abby.
I have a little I have a little grievance with maybe grievance is a strong word, but I have a concern with when I heard our dear panelists say that there is a demand for social workers, and there definitely is a demand, but does the supply meet the demand? Are there jobs available for the hundreds of graduates that leave university annually? And how can we get organizations and the government of Jamaica?
Abby, I think we may have lost you. I see that you're frozen. But I think I see where you are going towards in terms of how is it that we're going to make this value happen and this added value to the thing. I think that's the point you are going at. I think you're kind of off now. I do see a big point that we need that they want us to address in the chats. So before we go there, Ayana, go ahead for me and take the point.
All right, so I was going to touch actually on the same point that Abigail was saying, that the demand for us, yes, we are needed, but are we being hired in these spaces? So going into practicum, I had noticed that there's only one guidance counselor does everything. And going into the course of study as well, we're asking, like, we have ideas, we're launching ideas to our lecturers, like, can this be done, can that be done? But are there any resources? And that is so true. There aren't enough resources for us out there. But I believe that we can also be included in other spaces outside of the school and within agencies like victim service divisions and CPFSC. I believe that we can go into other organizations as well, where you have an HR manager. I think social workers can work alongside them as well to kind of resolve any conflict that is within that institution as well. So I agree with what Miss Abigail is saying. That was what I wanted to touch on.
Okay. Well,
Sorry.
I mean, go ahead, Shani.
Sorry, just to add a little bit, as Miss Phillips was saying, I would advise the general public that is listening now, they can do a deeper research as it regards to social work, because it takes you back to the roles of social work and the different function. And one must know that, you know, social workers can function on the clinical aspect, the community aspect, the school aspect, the medical aspect, even geriatric, right? And policy advocacy goes back straight to the manager aspect that Miss Philip was mentioning. So it is there, it's just for the general public to become aware. You understand? So in order for the general public to become aware, though, we definitely have to collaborate together. We have to collaborate together.
Awesome, awesome. And I was going to say, it's not that you think we can or can we. We absolutely can and are in all of these various places. And social workers are there in companies and probably organizations that we don't think hire social workers. A social worker works in an HR department for an organization that is not necessarily a social services organization. I do agree with you all. And I know, coming from having some other knowledge, that, you know, even the government of Jamaica right now, social workers are in the ministries, are in the Ministry of Education, for example. And whereas you're not there yet, where they're putting you in each school, social workers are responsible for several schools, responsible for probably a region. So, and again, you know what I'm actually hearing as one that is probably more seasoned than some of our guests here, although I'm a young person like them. They're really speaking to us, I think. So for all of my colleagues and friends and associates and kinfolk in the wider audience, how are we as current professional social workers, social work educators, practitioners in the field, how are we doing the work now that is setting the standard for these younger social workers and practitioners coming up. So I hear a call to action, you know, that's definitely what I want to hear. We need to wrap up soon because there are other aspects. We want to promote some of the things because we're here talking about promotion. Quickly, there was a comment when we were talking about myths that talk about the fact that social workers are informers. Any quick points on that? Social
I have a
workers
point on that one.
informers.
All right, so that I have a point on that one. So what persons don't realize is that we as social workers, we're big on confidentiality. It is stressed enough in our social work profession already. In our courses, it is stressed right across the scope. So a lot of the general persons outside of the profession don't know that we cannot just share the information when we're in a session with a client. We have to maintain confidentiality. We have to tell them that, basically give the informed consent. We have to let them know that this is where we can share the information. I'll only share it if a child's been abused and such like that. So that is because they're not in the know and in the moment. So majority of them just say, okay, we're informer. But only time they hear that we're informer is when the time calls upon us to actually break confidentiality.
Quite so, quite so. And as a matter of fact, it's not that we're informers. We're really out here, some of the people we're the best secret keepers because, boy, we have the information, you know. And as you said, this idea of informing or doing it is when it has gotten to the point where we have to, and that is a part of our code of ethics, that we get to that point, and we are agents of the law. So, you know, we don't really love that word here in Jamaica, here in the region, you know. But, you know, I don't necessarily have a problem with, maybe I am an informer, because some things we have to inform upon. Shanika, see your hand.
Yes, I don't want to be too long, but I'm just saying, in that case, we need to, you know, highlight or let persons become more aware of our principles as well. Because remember, within social work, we do have different principles, and dignity and worth of the person is one.
Oh, I think we lost Shanique a little bit. I know she will come back and let us know. I love, so Renee Robinson in the chat has said, we are mandated reporters. So next time them say we are informer, what we are going to say, Renee, we are mandated reporters. I love that. Shireen is also saying confidentiality is at the heart of social work practice, and it is absolutely embedded in our code of ethics. So actually, if you believe it, we're all the way now at 3:25. You can imagine that means at wrapping up time, we do have one or two people that we have. So we're talking about advertising and letting our work be known. So we do have two people that are gonna just join us really quickly to let us know some stuff that is happening soonly in the field. And then we'll just have a quick wrap up, brief statement by all of our guests, what you want us to leave with out of this session. So Fiona and Antoinette, are you here? Fiona, are you able to unmute and let us know what is happening? What do you want to talk about?
Hi, everybody. I hope you can hear me.
Fiona.
Hi, how you doing? I haven't turned on my camera. I think it should be turning on my camera. All right. I think can you see me? I hope you can. All right. So
seeing the flyer.
Oh, you seen the flyer? Okay, that's even better. Great. All right. So guys, I love the discussion. I love it. It's absolutely eye-opening, and I love how our NCU family coming out. I love it. Yes. I see you Portmore. I love it. I love it. All right, so the social work unit at UWI campus is not just an educational space, but a family. Yeah, one UE, right? One society. So as a family, we have decided to honor one of our own, who is Dr. Wendy McLean Cook, the ultimate social worker, I would say, lecturer, poet, and lover of life. had been a part of the universe, of the unit and family for a long time and will always be. So this year, guys, like this year on World Social Work Day, March 14, 2024, the social work unit will be fulfilling the theme Buen Vivere, a shared future for transformative change by acknowledging and honoring the unwavering dedication and incredible work of Dr. McLean Cook, who has served as inspiration for numerous individuals pursuing excellence in the field of social work, with special focus on her work, y'all. Like this is where, whoo, I just literally go off, because she was focusing on men who parent their partner's children from previous relationships. Okay, let's talk about being real. This is also to encourage persons to continue the legacy she had started. We will also be featuring social workers using innovative ways to create transformative change. We will have a lot of exciting things, guys, happening, from drama to dance to just having our lives transformed on a whole new level. All right. So all are invited as we celebrate this incredible woman. The venue is University Honorcroft. The time, 2 p.m. and the date, I said that before, March 14, 2024. You don't want to miss it. It is going to be
March 19th, ma'am.
March 19th. Oh God, listen, I'm all over this. March 19th. This is why I love you. Okay, March 19th. That's the date. That's the date, March 19th. Thank you so much. So don't forget it. We are going to celebrate this incredible woman, her work, her legacy, build on it, and just have a wonderful time being transformed. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Fiona. Antoinette, I think I see you online.
Hello, everyone.
Hey.
Loving the conversation. Awesome. And I love the collaboration. And that's what this year's World Social Work Day theme is about. You know, shared future of transformative change. And we were glad that you want to celebrate Wendy and the work that she has done. But for World Social Work Day, what the Social Work Training and Research Center of the Global Campus, along with the Mona Social Work Students Association, is that we are putting in the theme into practice, and we will be visiting Hope Valley Experimental School, not far away from the campus, and we'll be interacting with the students, sharing with them some tips of how to use the outdoor as well as our body in terms of our breathing techniques to release stress. And that will be very useful because Tuesday's World Social Work Day, Wednesday's big exams for these grade 6 students, you know, PEP. They're young, but children do go through stress. And we want to share with them some of the wonderful mental health techniques that you use on a daily basis with your clients so they can better themselves. Also on the day, because the theme speaks about our harmonious existence with nature, we decided to have a tree planting exercise, and we'll be restoring their vegetable garden. So then they will grow what they eat and eat what they grow. So we look forward, love the collaboration with SWASA, and have a wonderful rest of your conversation.
Love
Beautiful.
that. Love this.
Love
Love
that.
this, internet. Love this. All right, so what I'm going to do is just go ahead and give our guest speakers a chance to just have their final words. I want all of you to make sure to have on a social work students handles so that you can share it with the people. I see some other ones that I'm going to share as we wrap up. So just final word from my presenters, Shanique, Shireen, Ayana, Peter John, my co-host Abigail. What are your final thoughts? And make sure to plug on the social media handles for the school SWASA. Come the man. Who wants to go first? Ayana, I see you've unmuted. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right, so I just want us to take away from this moment the myths that we have covered and debunked, what we can take away from this and apply it for when we are going into a profession, especially us that are about to graduate from this profession. So yeah, I just want us to take what we learned here, because I'm just only a second year student. So I am learning so much from you guys. So I'm really glad that I was able to be a part of this conversation, and all that I've heard right now, I'm going to apply it in the profession once I graduate.
Love it. Love it.
Right. So for me, I believe that, as a budding social workers and of course those that are already established in the profession, that we have a big responsibility to educate the public as it relates to dispelling the myths and the misconception as it relates to social work. Because you know what? When persons are not educated about a particular subject, then they will form their own conclusion. And this is where you have the whole misconception coming about. But when they know, then they can only speak the truth. So education is very important to dispel these myths and these misconceptions.
Love it.
Perfect.
What's that?
Perfectly said. Perfectly said. And in addition, I collaboration. I'm going to stick on that one. I'm so happy that we are collaborating here today, and I just don't want this collaboration to be only for social work month. But moving forward, can we collaborate best, right? So students, educators, and as well as, I'm not sure if there's any teachers or any teacher, doctor, or lawyer here. I want you to help us spread the word that, so that this myth can be lower, right? Because if you should help us, because we all play a crucial role in society, and that's what people don't understand, right? So if we as students promote social work, as Mrs. Pennon said, by education and fostering a sense of community among students. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 2024 and we are the future. I don't want you persons that are there before us don't feel any way, but we are the future, right? And if we all can become pioneers someday for social work, and that's the aim, right? So therefore, let us collaborate the best as we can. If we need to go there and ask to volunteer into organizations so that people can know that, we are out there to do a little counseling or, advocate or help even build their policy, right? We can. So just let us know. And in addition to that, I believe we should communicate effectively. And it's a very important tool that we can use as social work to combat this misconcept, okay? Effective communication, and by working closely, right? Closely with other stakeholders or other schools, and, on a whole, we have JASWA as well. We can work with JASWA on Jamaican level, and as well as, internationally as well, right? So by collaborate, we can help break this barrier, right? And promote a greater awareness and understanding as it regards to social work.
Fabulous, fabulous. Peter John.
I think I would be doing the field a disservice if I didn't mention this. Just as a final note, we need males in social work. Desperately. I should have mentioned it earlier. I apologize, but we need males. This is something that I am particularly passionate about because man, we know that there are certain things where now I can communicate and this is an ex-Virginia talk to as real as it gets. So we need that kind of space for the youths who are come up as well. And as well, creatives, I call to you as well, because while it may not seem, we can use our arts with the field. I use music, but we can use our various arts, whether it's painting, whatever skills we have to apply and help anybody that needs it. All right. So just a call out, check into it. It might be more for you than you would think. All right.
Love that. Love that. My co-host, how you do?
I'm good. I'm very good. Thank you.
Killing me with
For
school
me,
97 voice. I love it. Go ahead. Abby gone? Logic. Okay, come on, talk now.
All right. So for me, my encouragement to us is not let persons who don't understand us and what we do to write our story for us. It's our responsibility to change the narrative. I know what history said, but that's history for a reason. Let's rewrite history. Let's get uncomfortable. We may be comfortable hiding in the background and not singing our praises, but if we sit back and allow the media to paint an image of us that is not true, we won't get the public support. We won't get more persons in to sign up for being a social worker. We won't get more men in the profession because all they'll see is the negativity. So let's not leave it up to the persons who don't understand what we do to write the story for us. That's really it for me. We have a big responsibility, and I'm really looking forward to the great things that we can do once we get out of our comfort zone as social workers and we unite ourselves across not just Jamaica, but the Caribbean as well, and show up as a force for change and a force for good and a force to be reckoned with. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, man. I love it. I love it. I love it.
The news reporter.
Hey, boy, the comments, you're giving us news reporter, you're giving us radio, you're giving us. We love it. Listen, I love the conversation so far. I am so thankful to be a part of this process. Just some quick shout outs. Guys, please look at the link. There's a feedback form that we would love, absolutely love you guys to fill out and give us your thoughts on how it went, what we can improve on, what you'd like us to talk about in future podcasts, everything. Quick shout out, all the things are there. We have the link for the SWASA for PCC. I remember doing a seminar up we had an event up at Mona some years ago. And when the PCC students come in, man, you hear them, them not stop. One PCC. We love that energy. My NCU people, thank you for coming on. One NCU, one SWASA. UWI Mona SWASA, we're shouting out UWI Mona Social Work Unit. Please follow us on Instagram, social work dash one of our social work colleagues. That's her page. She goes live. She give you tips on how to bust up the exam, the social work stuff, and that social work dash, not the thing, but DASH. We have all of these fabulous things. The links are there. I did see somebody mention something about active associations. Yes, they are active. Jamaica Association of Social Work. I know Vicky came on and spoke about the Trinidad Association of Social Work. There is a Medical Association of Social Work. The associations are out there. But like Abby said, look here, we have to be the ones. I want all my young people, I want my guests to come back for our next podcast, which the flyers will, the registration for the flyers did go out for that. The topic will be, here we are, the status of professionalizing social work in the Caribbean. I want the young people, them come ask the questions to the professional social workers in the field. No cut, no dash with them, ask them. It is a call to action for the professionals and us who are older in the field, because the young people, them are watch we. So we have to leave the legacy for them, not true? Because them sound like them ready for do the thing. We have some other episodes in March, diversity of social work careers. We were talking about what's happening, and also wealth creation for social workers. So we are talking about the money, we're bringing it because we love it. So again, I want to thank you guys. I want to big up Sharon, Dr. Sharon McKenzie, big up Dr. Joanna Simpson, big up all the people in the background that is bringing this thing to life. Social Work Unit, UWI Mona, and it has been a fabulous forum. Thank you guys for coming on. Missing people still enter as we are wrap up. Then this not bad. What do the thing? So I'm going to read the fabulous outro, and once again, thank you so much for being here for us, guys, right? Thank you for tuning in into this episode of Threads of Change, Empowering Social Workers podcast, where social workers come together to inspire, empower, and effect positive change. Thanks to our guests, Ayana Phillips, Shireen Manning-Pennant, Shanique Knight, Abigail Barrett, Peter John Palmer. We want to also big up our team, Shamina Blackwood, Rashad Ford, Tessie Scott, Dr. Sharon McKenzie, Dr. Joanna Simpson. A special thanks goes out to Sivonia Lewis for her invaluable assistance during the initial conceptualizing of the podcast. Thanks to you, Uno, our treasured community, who is still coming in now, for joining us, sharing your views. Big up all the people who wrote comments, who kept the conversation going. We thank you so much. Your feedback fuels our mission to spread awareness and create the positive change. If you have any questions, stories, topics you'd like for us to reach out to us on our social media pages, subscribe, share with our friends, share the NCU page, share the UE page, share the PCC page. We have JTS, we have programs or social workers at UCC. Listen, we're doing it. Good, good, good. And us, finally, thank you. My name is Shauna K. Burns, my co-host Abigail. We hope you found this week's discussion engaging and insightful. And so until next time, guys, let's continue to shift the narrative surrounding social work and igniting a movement around this thing. I just lost my train of thought. Social workers, we're recognized, we're invaluable, we're superheroes with capes without kids. And together we're going to do this. We're going to elevate the status of social work, and we're going to drive positive change. So everybody, if you can, my people who can turn on their mics, let's say a bye, let's say a big up, let's say a shout out. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We're loving it. Walk good, walk good, walk good. You see the young people, oh, them doing the art now? This is how they're doing it for my people who are my age. This is the way they're doing it. This is it. Awesome, awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much. This was awesome.
Thank you so much. Great,
Bye,
great, great.
guys.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Bye, everybody.